Hello, welcome to SalivaCast. I am Dr. Deborah Heller, your host, founder of Saliva Pro, and president of the Salivary Research Group of the IADR, the International Association of Dental Research. Here at SalivaCast, you learn how saliva can transform your clinical practice and your health. This is my mission, this is my goal, this is my purpose in life to bring knowledge about saliva to every dentist and every patient in the world so you can have a healthier mouth and a healthier life. And today's topic is urgent. We are going to talk about vaping, e-cigarettes, and its impact on oral health and why in many cases, it may be worse than traditional cigarettes. Get ready. What you will hear today may change the way you guide your patients and take care of your own health. What is vaping? Vaping refers to the use of electronic cigarettes or e-cigarettes. These are devices that heat a mixture of propylene glycol, glycerol, and nicotine and flavoring agents. That's what makes it so attractive, especially to the youth. Generate an inhalable aerosol. They emerge as the harm reduction promise for smokers. But the truth is, this technology has brought new risks, especially for young people. Today, in the world, there are over 460 vape brands and more than 7,000 different flavors. And while many have this misconception, have this belief that they are safer than traditional cigarettes, research paints a worrying picture. Let's talk about the impact of vaping on oral health. And I want to bring you new evidence. And I am a dentist and I am a scientist. I am a university professor. And I am really proud to bring you a study that has just been published. And as a dental scientist, I must say exactly 4 days ago in a very prestigious journal, the NPJ Biofilms and Microbiomes, a study led by Dr. Purnima Kumar and her team, with the participation of my dear friend and collaborator, Dr. Sukir Ganazan from the University of Iowa in the United States. They show that vape aerosol is metabolized by oral bacteria, altering the architecture of oral biofilm of oral plaque. These changes lead to denser, more resilient biofilm, increased antibiotic resistance, and amplified virulence of bacteria associated with periodontal disease. Let me say this in a way that you understand and that you can urgently communicate this to your patient. To put it in the simple way for your patients, vaping, electronic cigarettes, e-cigarettes, triggers stress responses in bacteria, increasing inflammation and tissue damage. They basically found that the good bacteria in your mouth break down the vapor you inhale, generating highly toxic metabolites for your body. This transforms a healthy oral environment into one that is highly virulent, inflammatory, and antibiotic resistant. Do you understand why this is urgent that we communicate to our patients? In another study, Dr. Kumar's team, and I'm citing her because I really appreciate her work as a dental scientist. I really admire her work, and she's one of the world's leading experts on vaping and oral health. So she has been investigating this for over a decade. And she investigated how these e-cigarettes change the friendly bacteria in your mouth, like I just told you. And they found that they become completely toxic. Even the good bacteria, when exposed to the vapor, produce a kind of this gelatinous goo. They become extremely stressed. In one experience, she reported she grew bacteria from her own mouth in a petri dish under different conditions. Without e-cigarettes vapor, they were easily removed with a toothbrush. So that's basically our oral hygiene protocol for every day. But after being exposed to vapor, the bacteria appeared viscous, like a goo. And I am seeing this in my clinic. I am at my saliva clinic right now, and I know you are too. Patients in their 20s and their 30s who use vapes, they present with severe gum recession. They need sometimes grafts, and those grafts rarely succeed. There are also studies showing that vaping impairs wound healing. We just saw a patient today that may need the surgery. We must ask her if she uses vape, electronic cigarettes. On this trial that they conducted, a standardized wound was created on the palate, and in the non-vaping group, healing began in 4 days and was basically undetectable, all healed after 7 days. In the vaping group, the wound was still unhealed after 21 days. This is your patient, this is my patient, the one coming in for an extraction or a soft tissue graft today. How do you think they will heal? As dentists, we must plan with this in mind and inform our patients. Quitting in the week before surgery may be worth considering. There is another essential study that was done by Brazilian dental scientists, conducted by Dr. Janete Almeida here in Brazil. She published not long ago, in November last year, November 2024, in the International Journal of Molecular Sciences. And she confirmed how vaping electronic cigarettes profoundly alters saliva. She identified biomarkers associated with the use of vape. And these substances are related to inflammation, toxin metabolism, and cellular aging. Pay attention. Do you hear these words? This is what vaping is doing to your mouth and to your patient's mouth. It is bringing inflammation, it is bringing toxins, and is triggering cellular aging. It's making you age faster. It's making your cells age faster. And the impact goes way beyond the mouth. They also found that it brings reduced oxygen saturation, increase inhaled CO, less viscous and thicker saliva. So it basically reduces saliva's characteristics that acts as protecting your mouth, and high cotinine concentration. This is a marker of nicotine dependence. Many participants in this study also reported that they use alcohol, which together with vape just accelerates mucosal damage and increase oral cancer risk. In short, red alert, 100% red alert. These findings, they reinforce that vaping is not neutral for oral health. It is changing the biochemistry of our saliva and our microbiome, and it's accelerating disease. It's causing disease. Many dentists wonder this, and many patients ask us this: what's worse? Is it vaping? Is it electronic cigarettes, or is it regular cigarettes? A study shows that the oral microbiome damage that takes 5 years in smokers occurs in just 6 months in vape users. 6 months. That means that electronic cigarettes accelerate dysbiosis and the risk of diseases such as periodontitis, caries, and possibly oral cancer. Additionally, as I've mentioned today, vape exposure increases dry mouth, delays wound healing, increases gingival bleeding, and alters the microbiome to favor fungal infection. Let's break down the components of this electronic cigarette. So perhaps it gives you more like substance, more knowledge to talk this to your patients. It has in many of them nicotine. About 45% of this nicotine release is deposited in the oral cavity, with saliva concentrations being 10 times higher than in the plasma. It boosts inflammation. It is triggering inflammation and it's favoring the growth of pathogenic bacteria, bacteria associated with disease, like P. gingivalis that links to periodontitis or S. mutans that link to cavities. Many times it has propylene glycol and glycerol that when heated release carcinogens. It is induces cancer. The flavoring, though it's labeled as safe, they, when heated, may be carcinogenic as well. And the devices themselves, we've all seen reports of explosions and mechanical failures have been documented, leading to oral and facial trauma. And don't forget that the young people, our younger patients who vape, are 4 times more likely to start smoking traditional cigarettes. Let's talk about more vaping in the youth. Statistics show today that about 20% of young adults use vapes, and the issue is that they use it with high nicotine doses and this sweet menthol flavors that seems harmless, but really aren't. Nicotine affects their brain development, increasing chemical dependency, attention deficit, and cognitive tissue. This electronic cigarettes is harming their oral health, their mental health, and their systemic health. There's been really aggressive marketing for the use of electronic cigarettes. It's actually inspired by traditional tobacco ads. It has harm reduction claims, but truly, it's really harming the health of our patients. And as a health professional, we must alert them. Today, look how scary this is. 27% of high school students use vapes. Studies actually show that adolescents who vape are more likely to start smoking, that adults who vape have lower smoking cessation rates, and that switching from smoking to vaping doesn't eliminate the risks and it often increases dependence. This is something I heard from a dear colleague saying that when she talks about vape to young adults, when she wants to really brings their attention, she brings the hairspray and she says, look how interesting this is. If you wouldn't spray this in your mouth, why would you inhale vape aerosol? Vape really creates this false sense of safety, but they are toxic aerosols. And the nicotine hits the brain fast, increasing addiction risk. So, what is our role as dentists? And now I want to bring a new concept that is very really like up to date to our current dental practice. It is lifestyle dentistry. And it comes from a biology concept, which is exposomal biology. Okay. I don't know if you've heard of this. We must go beyond treating disease. We need to understand our patients' habits choices and exposures. That's why it's called the exposomal biology. What is our patients being exposed to? And in the cases I just explained to you, electronic cigarettes. So guiding them about vaping, identifying early salivary changes, and performing saliva tests in our daily clinical practice. We must encourage them to keep hydrated, adjust their diets, and reinforce how oral hygiene is essential part of our oral care. So how to conduct saliva testing and why it helps in early screening. Saliva tests play this critical role with simple tests like flow rate, pH, viscoelasticity. We can detect changes before damage is visibly clinically. Testing vape users help individualize prevention and monitoring plans. I must say here, and if you've heard another saliva cast, you probably heard myself saying that we must incorporate saliva testing in our daily clinical practice. Let me add this. For a vape user, for a patient that uses electronic cigarettes, not incorporating saliva tests to their care, it is anti-ethical because they need this to keep themselves healthy. And why is saliva so important? Why is saliva even more important for a vape user? It's the most neglected and yet most powerful fluid in the body. It protects your mucosa, balances your pH, controls the microbiome, signals inflammation and toxin exposure, like I just showed you today. And best of all, to do a saliva test, it's really painless, needle-free, and low cost. Saliva is truly the early mirror of health. And what can you do today in your clinic? I'm talking to you, it's exactly noon in Brazil. I have patients coming in the afternoon. As a dentist, you can and you must ask about vape use and be empathetically. If a patient denies it first, but you suspect otherwise, build trust and truly ask again. Really connect. Observe early signs, dry mouth, inflamed gums, angular cheilitis. Use the clinical oral dryness score as part of your assessment. Perform saliva tests. How many times? I'll repeat this as many times as necessary. Saliva flow, salivary pH, viscosity. It takes 5 minutes, and showing the results to your patient via our app, our Saliva Pro app, or print it builds trust and your clinical authority. And educate your patients with scientific evidence. That's our responsibility. What you learn today on SalivaCast, you bring to your patients tomorrow. I work every day to translate great science into clinical excellence in a palatable way so you can understand and bring this to your patients. And of course, you incentivize them to quit vaping as much as you can. So, what to teach our patients? Let's go to practical tips. Vape is not just vapor, it's a chemical aerosol that is harmful to your mouth and your body. It can cause dry mouth, inflammation, cause you healing problems. It increases the risk of serious diseases. It may have heavy metals and carcinogenic byproducts. Okay, those have been detected in the saliva of vape users. And we for sure can prevent and keep you healthy. I just must know your habit and individualize my prevention approach. So I want you to keep hydrated. I will customize your oral hygiene. I will continuously do saliva testing and, of course, regular dental follow-up. Dentists, make sure, if you have not yet, to include vape use in your medical history, in your clinical protocols. The mouth is the gateway to general health, and vaping may look as a modern and harmless, but it possesses real systemic and oral risks. It is a modern drug. And dentists, and health professionals in general, we are the first line of defense. We must talk to our patients, explain the risks, order saliva tests. Dentists do saliva tests. Follow them closely. And remember, prevention is always better than treatment. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with colleagues, patients. I invite you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Deborah Heller on YouTube. Also, I am present on Instagram, Dr. Deborah Heller on Instagram. This is a new English profile. I have my older profile in Portuguese is A Dentista Cientista. In Portuguese, I invite you to join, to send your feedback. On my YouTube channel, I have posted step-by-step demos of all the saliva tests I mentioned today. Let's build a more conscious dentistry together. You can always count on me. See you next time on SalivaCast.